How Stephen Curry revolutionized basketball with his three-point shot. But before starting the video, leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything about the NBA. Before Stephen Curry entered the NBA, basketball had a clear hierarchy. The paint was sacred territory. Dominant centers like Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan, and Dwight Howard ruled the league, and mid-range assassins like Kobe Bryant and Dirk Nowitzki were the offensive architects of their teams. The three-point line? Useful, sure, but only when necessary. It was considered a specialty tool, not a primary weapon. But then came a 6 feet 2 inches guard from Davidson College. Lightweight, overlooked, and underestimated. Stephen Curry wasn't supposed to change the league. He wasn't drafted in the top 3. Scouts doubted whether his game would translate to the NBA. His handle was flashy, his shot was quick, but his frame was too small, and his ankles too fragile. At least that's what the experts thought. Yet what Curry brought with him wasn't just shooting, it was freedom. A freedom to test the limits of what a good shot was. A freedom to let it fly in transition. To shoot off the dribble. To shoot from 30 feet. Over time, what began as an unorthodox approach became an unstoppable weapon. And then, a movement. From his rookie season, Curry gave glimpses of what he could become. But it wasn't until around 2014, with the arrival of Coach Steve Kerr and the rise of the pace and space offense, that Curry was fully unleashed. The Warriors built an offensive system that allowed Curry to be Curry, moving constantly off the ball, using screens, pulling up from deep, and attacking with a blend of creativity and precision that had never been seen before. Then came the 2015-16 season, the year that changed basketball forever. Curry averaged over 30 points per game while hitting a jaw-dropping 402 three-pointers, many from 30 feet and beyond. He became the first unanimous MVP in NBA history. His highlights dominated social media. Game winners from the logo, defenders left spinning, arenas erupting before the ball even touched the net. Curry wasn't just making shots. He was rewriting the game's rulebook in real time. What made it revolutionary wasn't just how far he was shooting, but when and how he did it. Pull-up threes in transition used to be a coach's nightmare. Curry turned them into high-efficiency plays. Step-back triples with a hand in his face. Routine. Defenders were forced to pick him up at half-court, opening the floor for his teammates in ways no other player had done before. Off the court, the Curry effect spread like wildfire. Kids at the playground didn't want to dunk anymore. They wanted to drain deep threes. High school and college coaches began encouraging volume, shooting from distance. Even the NBA itself shifted. In 2010, the average team attempted 18 three-pointers per game. By 2020, that number had jumped to over 34. Curry wasn't just riding a wave, he was the wave. Stephen Curry took a shot that had always existed and transformed it into the core of a new basketball era. He proved that a player's greatest weapon didn't need to be size or strength. It could be range, timing, and relentless confidence. He turned long-range shooting into a science and an art form. But this was only the beginning of his revolution. The real impact of his game would ripple across the entire league, and eventually the entire world. By the time Stephen Curry had fully established himself as the face of the NBA's three-point revolution, the effects of his influence were already impossible to ignore. What started as a stylistic innovation by one player became a complete transformation of basketball philosophy at every level of the game. The NBA didn't just adjust to Curry. It evolved because of him. Teams that once prioritized size, rebounding, and physicality began rethinking their entire approach. The Warriors' success, driven by Curry's unique style, showed that spacing, pace, and perimeter shooting could overwhelm even the toughest defenses. No longer was the three-point line just a scoring option. It was the foundation of modern offense. Curry's gravity, the way defenders were drawn to him even when he didn't have the ball, created open looks for teammates all over the floor. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, and later Kevin Durant thrived in a system where Curry's mere presence forced defenders to stretch beyond their comfort zone. Suddenly, big men who couldn't shoot or switch on defense were liabilities. Guards who couldn't hit threes consistently found themselves phased out of rotations. This wasn't just about one team. The entire league adapted. General managers began drafting differently. Coaches built systems that revolved around floor spacing and ball movement. Analytics departments prioritized efficient shots, layups, free throws, and, most importantly, three-pointers. The mid-range game, once the bread and butter of NBA scorers, was now considered a statistical dead zone. From 2012 to 2022, the average number of three-point attempts per game by NBA teams nearly doubled. Centers like Brook Lopez and Al Horford reinvented themselves as floor spacing shooters. Even traditionally low-scoring teams found new life by embracing the deep ball. And through it all, Curry remained the face of the revolution, setting records, shifting defenses, and rewriting the limits of what was possible on a basketball court. But perhaps Curry's greatest impact can be seen in the next generation. Across the globe, young players began modeling their games after him, not by copying his dribbling or speed, but by adopting his confidence and vision. Kids now practice logo shots, step-back threes, and wonderful pull-ups from 30 feet. High school and AAU teams began prioritizing shooting development over post play. Even internationally, leagues and national programs adjusted their training to fit the new standard. Curry didn't just transform how basketball is played. He reshaped how it's taught, how it's coached, and how it's understood. He blurred the lines between shot selection and shot creation. He shattered the traditional playbook, replacing it with a new template where range equals power and rhythm beats brute force. And through it all, he did it with a smile. No trash talk, no scandals, just joy, hard work, and a belief that with enough practice, anything was possible, even turning 30-footers into layups. Today, nearly every NBA team shoots threes at a rate that would have seemed absurd 15 years ago. And every time a player pulls up from the logo with confidence, whether it's Damian Lillard, Trae Young, or a kid at your local gym, you can trace the DNA of that shot back to one man, Stephen Curry. He didn't just change the game, he revolutionized it.